Good afternoon, it's Bob from Trade Genius, the 27th of April, and I wanted to go through a few charts. Today was kind of boring. Yesterday, sorry for no video, but my neighbors were doing some demo work, and there was a jackhammer outside my office door, and all you would have heard was a jackhammer. But I think between yesterday and today, I think we hit some pivots, and I want to kind of go over that. And I think the market has now an opportunity for it to fall hugely, and so I'm just going to go through the main ETFs here. So if you look at the financials, is that they peaked with Trump, they tried to move again today, they sold back down, and now I'm watching that 100-day moving average, which is the red line that you see there, and once it falls below there, I think it'll support a sell-off in the broader indexes, and we'll I think we'll get our correction that we've been waiting for. So we're up like 18%, we're up like 40% in a year, and the GDP is almost zero. It just makes no sense in the world, other than this crazy loading of ETFs of like the top 50 stocks. The old Nifty 50 thing, where everybody crowds into the highest market cap stocks because they are viewed to be safest. Everybody else falls, and then people start selling, and then the whole market craters. So we're setting ourselves up again. Nothing new under the sun. But like I said, XLF is now got sell signals on it, so stay away. GDX is had a pop yesterday, and I think this is a tell for us, is that they short gold, they short the miners, they short the yen, and they short vol to support the market. And so as those things abate, you saw it yesterday, the market sold off and metals and miners popped, and it held yesterday's low. So it's getting close. So momentum and money flow have bottomed, and now we're just waiting for a trend to develop, and I think we're going to see it here over the next couple days. So we're long dust puts, and I think they're going to pay us in May. SPY, it's they drove it to zero. It's a derivatives game with SPY. All they're doing is just cleaning out the put buyers and the call buyers. And with volatility now in the tens, I mean, it's hardly worth buying these things anymore. If you're just going to get taken out, but it's pretty cheap to put on some puts. So I think we have to see this market is well above its 100-day moving average right now. It's well above its VWAP, and momentum and money flow are at max overbought here, and now we're just waiting to see a trend form. But SPY, I think, is now in overbought territory. Nugget, we talked about. Volatility, look at that. I'll show VIXX in a minute, but it couldn't go down here for the last 2 days, and I just think it's going to be difficult for them to push it down any further, and I'll show that to you in a sec. Yeah, the risk reward simply not there. People ask me, hey, is there a trade today? There was a XIV trade, kind of, if you want to day trade it, but I'm just worried that something's just going to push a reversal on this thing, and it's just going to collapse. IWM, okay, all the news is out now on the big guys, which is really interesting. So Microsoft didn't beat, Amazon and YouTube did, and Starbucks actually didn't beat, even with coffee prices in the tank. So that's just telling me it's just another thing going on. Amazon doesn't sell coffee, so the retailers are in big trouble. People just don't have money. I mean, the average person in America probably spends $1,500 a year at Starbucks. Well, if you're making $30,000 a year, and you got to pay for all these, your health care, your deductible, your rent, your car, your insurance, your gas, your food. I mean, something's got to give. And now we're starting to see even stuff like Starbucks is starting to fade. It'd be interesting to see. I think once the Apple products start to fade off, then we know it's Katie bar the door. XLE, we might have got a bottom in this on today, but I think it's gonna probably test down before it takes off again, because I think oil bottom. These are just trades, so I'm looking at probably, if it pushes up a little bit more, I think it has a run to right about here, which is 69 area. So good trade for 3%, but if you have options or if you do ERX, make it worthwhile for you. GXJ the same, miners. Silver, I think silver bottomed here, went to the S2. Look at that move. This is like, talking about mechanical. Tell me somebody wasn't planning that move. That's not natural. In nature, things aren't in a straight line. They oscillate. And that just shows you that it's how manipulated the markets are. Oil crashed and bounced. We'll see if it has any legs to it. XIV, I think it's pretty top. Put it this way, the risk reward's not in your favor to keep going long it. This is how they kind of push the markets today. Probably Amazon sitting in there, and Google. Dust, like I said, we bought Dust yesterday, right around this area here. So we have them for next Friday. I'll be happy to roll them if it starts going my way. But the Kona probability says there's a 60% chance it can hit 26. That sounds exciting to me. So we took a shot at it, and I think they're gonna have a hard time keep pushing the miners down. I think the metals are resisting the fall. Like I said, you can see it in gold right here. Everything's lining up. Now, it's possible they can crash this thing down to the 100, and they may just do it. But I'm taking a shot here because it's flattening out. I think if they wanted to, they could have kept pushing this thing down, but they can't. I'm short natural gas. They had a drawdown. Market was negative on it. The reaction from the news was a pop, but they pushed it down 3 or 4% before the news came out. Popped it up to flat. I think it was a gap fill, and then rolled it back down. I'm expecting get any kind of warm weather in the Midwest over the next week or two. We're going to see a 30 cent drop in natural gas, and we'll see UNG down at 7 or below. I have credit spread on UNG too. 750, 850 expires tomorrow, and so it's profitable right now, but not profitable enough. So if it's still under, I'll just keep an eye on it and close it out. Real estate we're staying away from. SLW, I think when the miners go here, I think it has an air setup. I think we have a move here to the mid-20s. MOS, looks like it's putting a little cup in here and starting to stair step. And, it keeps selling off on the VWAP, so I'd like for it to climb back up before I jump back in again. We're in AG. We got in yesterday, got out at flat, jumped back in again, and I'm going to double down at 790 here and look for it to get to like 880 and hop off. I'll go a little bit lower if I fill at a lower price, maybe 850. Looking for 10%. And ERX, we talked about the drillers. And here's oil. And I was short oil last night in the futures. So caught the move from 49.29 to 48. I think 48.48. I have to look somewhere around there. And but then I didn't chase it all the way down to the weekly pivot point. I was trading some other things, and it had a nice roar back. And we'll see if it put a bottom in, and or if this was just a retest to fill the gap. And XLY, all about Amazon. XBI, I think biotech's going to top here. Momentum and money flow already started rolling over. I'd like to see the stochastics bend down first and see if there's an opportunity. It blew right through its R2, and I may take a shot at some puts on it here tomorrow or Monday. SH is SPY inverse. That's oil. Drip. We traded. It wasn't my signal, but those were following the oil calls. Had drip also, and they took profit today. Pretty smart move. A lot of them got out at 1910 area, but I think if the drillers get a bid here, we're going to be looking at trading this thing back down to anywhere between $15 and $17. So patience is in order here. Okay, we bought TWM today, and looking for basically the sell the news here on IWM. Financials down. A lot of tech companies aren't hitting their numbers, and so I think the expectation now for the mega caps are so incredible at this point that any disappointment will send TWM flying higher. So I'm looking for a 10% move in this as well. So we're in at 21.29. If I can get if I can get 23.30, 23.40, it'd be great. So just kind of keep an eye on it around that VWAP and the 100-day moving average area. The dollar just grind up a little bit higher. I like to see it roll over for our metals and minor position, and also to weaken SPY. DBA is getting close to being interesting again. I'm waiting for this thing to climb over to VWAP and have climb over to 100-day before I start getting involved in it again. Coffee, where's the bottom? It's amazing. Starbucks couldn't make their number and coffee's in the tank. So this is absolutely pure manipulation by the future guys. They can just sell this down so they can buy it from the farmers for cheap. So this is the manipulation of non-commercial guys and speculators, and just not non-commercial, the commercial guys just with more money to overpower the producers. So it's a shame, but if Joe gets down around 17, the crops aren't good, then I think there's an opportunity for a pretty significant snapback. Wheat's getting interesting here. This is the year. Maybe I was a year off of my exuberance, but they're having a lot of problems in a lot of the wheat growing areas. Not only is it staying colder longer, it's staying wet and colder. And wet and cold fields you can't plant. And corn's already sensed it. I've been burned a few times on wheat, so I'm just going to kind of wait for it to climb over to 100. But I think it's I think we're going to get a good move on it. It's been 11 years in a row that wheat has gone down in price. That's just simply amazing. Yet the food we eat hasn't gotten any cheaper. So the guys between the farmers and the retailers are basically stealing it. And but at some point, I noticed today at the grocery store that I look at a certain product for pasta, and I use it more just to check the pricing, and they're selling at the lowest prices ever. And eggs, I live in California, and eggs are the lowest prices I've seen ever. And we don't even grow eggs in the state anymore because of the wacky leftists, made us move our chickens out of state. And still 88 cents a dozen. Come on, that's incredible. So somebody's getting feed pretty cheap to feed the chickens. So now I'm expecting chicken prices to fall too, because if they can feed these chickens cheaply, and we start seeing that kind of deflation in the food prices. Poor people get a little bit of a break here before the whole thing starts to roll over in deflation. So something to watch out for. I'm a big believer we're deflating, and I don't think there's anything they can do about it. No matter how much they talk about raising interest rates, I think it's going to be Janet Yellen's going to be doing basically a suicide pact if she keeps raising rates. She's going to break the markets, and she's going to break the economy, because she's not passing it on to people. The banks aren't giving it to savers, so there's no cash flow coming into the normal people. It's still just being hoarded at the top. These people don't spend any money. They just keep pouring it into assets and make it unaffordable for people to live their life. That's a classic Potterville, from its It's a Great Life, whatever that show is from the 1930s. Wonderful Life. You know, that's what they do. They hoard everything, and then people can't afford anything. And that's what we're seeing. And I think they're going to be shocked when it happens because, I mean, you're going to start wiping out entire industries are going to go bankrupt. And I'm talking within the next 12 months. You're starting to see it in retail today, so it's not some sort of song. I mean, we've had more retail bankruptcies this year than ever. Ever. And they're still rolling in. Every week you see another one biting the dust or laying off. And that just destroys communities. So this is Walmart part 2. And Amazon's helping, but Amazon is not the big, the only cause of this. It's people just simply don't have any discretionary income. Real estate we talked about nat gas. The yen here I think is building a base here at the 100, and the only thing that concerns me is that we're overbought and we're still not trending, so they may push it down one more shot, and I just have to be respectful of that. If they do that, gold and miners are going to take another trip south and it'll try to push the market higher. So always watch the yen every morning. I kind of see where it is at night. If they already have the yen coming down overnight, then I know that the market's probably going to get some support. So that's what I'll be looking for in about another hour or so. We talked about the miners, talked about corn, and we talked about bio. We talked about nat gas, talked about ags, volatility. Let me get off of VVIX and get to VIX. First of all, this is the 10-year yield, and if things were great, it wouldn't be at 2.3%. And here's the VIX. I mean, we're at near all-time lows. So they lost that funding source. That's why I'm thinking that they're going to probably take a run at yen and try to take a run at gold, to be able to push this one step higher. Whoops, sorry about that. Let's see, did it the wrong way? Yeah, so, I mean, this is incredible. So if you guys are into the short vol world, I mean, yeah, go ahead and go for it if you want. But, there's not much left in that pot. They're going to have to pop this thing again so people can have, basically a funding mechanism. So that's why I think they'll probably go for the yen again, try to squeeze that. But my understanding, talking to some other people, is the more they short that yen, the more pressure they put on oil. So now you got rich people fighting each other, and so I don't know who will win that. It depends on which bankers will lose money, will determine how long that yen battle will last, or if it'll go up or down. But anyway, so tomorrow I'm expecting probably flat to up. There's really pretty benign, or last day of the month sometimes is negative, and so it's just really a dealer's choice tomorrow. So. I'm just going to watch the market. I think ES, anything below 23.84, we can have a run down 10 points. Anything above 23.84, they may try to make a run for all-time highs. So I'm just going to be open to both. I think nat gas is probably stuck. Oil, they may try to run it back to 50. I don't know. And gold is really all about the yen. So if they push the yen, FXY goes down tomorrow, gold's going down. If FXY is flat to up, then gold's going to go up. But going into next week is that it starts to get seasonally weak, and all the news is out, and now the expectations are much higher. So anyway, this is Bob from Trade Genius, and I'll put a few more videos out this weekend and hopefully get us prepared for, I think, a pretty exciting week. And just so you know, I mean, we had a fantastic week this week. We're up about 8%, and which is probably the biggest week I've had so far this year, and so pretty excited about that. And I don't even count my put trades in there or my credit spreads in there. That's just straight ETF buying and selling. And so if you're interested, check us out. Buy them monthly and see if you can trade with us. If we also opened a trading academy, we have a 50% off sale right now. It's been extraordinarily well received. I was pretty humbled by that, and where I teach you everything that I do and I know, and in very easy to use language, and it's from a trader's perspective. So none of this jargon and theoretical stuff. This is the stuff that works. stuff I tried that didn't work and we modified, and it covers the whole gamut from what is the stock market all the way through trading futures, chips and tricks, and things that you know, you should trade when you should trade them. So anyway, check us out at tradegenius.co or tradegeniusacademy.com. Have a great day. Bye-bye.